Ladies and gentlemen, this is TVP World. You're watching another edition of Break the Fake, where we debunk fake news and combat false narratives. I'm your host, Benjamin Lee, and let's get rolling. Now, at a joint press conference with Chancellor Scholz, French President Macron pulled out a map showing the extent of Russian territory that Ukraine would be in range to strike if it was only allowed to use Western-supplied weapon systems for the attacks. Ukrainian soil is de facto being attacked from bases located in Russia, he said, adding that, how do you explain to the Ukrainians that they must protect their cities? Macron finally said, quote, we should allow them to neutralize the military sites from which the missiles are fired. With the caveat that, of course, no other military or civilian targets in Russia are attacked, solely the launch sites.
Plusieurs d'entre vous, dont un bon journal du soir en France, ont sorti cette carte, qui est très juste, mais qui vous montre le sol ukrainien, oui, est attaqué, de fait, depuis des bases, et qui sont en Russie. Alors comment on explique aux Ukrainiens qu'il va falloir protéger ces villes, et au fond tout ce qu'on voit en ce moment autour de Kharkiv, si on leur dit vous n'avez pas le droit d'atteindre le point d'où sont tirés les missiles? En fait, on leur dit on vous livre des armes, mais vous ne pouvez pas vous défendre. Donc nous, on reste exactement dans le même cadre. On pense qu'on doit leur permettre de neutraliser les sites militaires d'où sont tirés les missiles, et au fond les sites militaires depuis lesquels l'Ukraine est agressée, mais on ne doit pas permettre de toucher d'autres cibles en Russie, et évidemment des capacités civiles ou d'autres cibles militaires. Quand c'est depuis des cibles identifiées en Russie.
Speaking with The Economist, NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg said that members of the North Atlantic Alliance should permit Ukraine to strike targets on Russian soil using weapons they supplied. But on Monday, Washington explicitly rejected the idea for US-donated weapons, with John Kirby, the spokesman for the White House National Security Council, saying, quote, we don't encourage or enable the use of US-supplied weapons to strike inside Russia. Now, Russian state news agency RIA Novosti has recently uploaded a post suggesting the newly revealed scenarios for war between US and Russia presume that Poland will disappear off the map. Now, the text is based off of a post made by an anonymous geopolitical analyst going by the pen name Drago Bosnich. In his analysis, Bosnich tried to persuade public opinion that if the broadly defined West, including Poland, follows through on its threats against Moscow, then many of them are facing total destruction in mass missile attacks. The quote-unquote analyst even included a handy list of warmongers, pushing the world closer to global conflict. Aside from the US, the UK, and the NATO chief, the list also includes none other than Polish Foreign Minister Radosław Sikorski. To collaborate, the pick, Bosnich cites Sikorski's interview for The Guardian, in which the official said that if Moscow resorts to using nukes, then Washington might respond by striking Russian positions in Ukraine. Meanwhile, Putin presses on with his thinly veiled nuclear threats, wearing a satisfied although slightly wry expression, and denounces the West for its unwillingness to negotiate.
Если эти серьезные последствия будут наступать в Европе, как поведут себя Соединенные Штаты, имея в виду наш приоритет в сфере стратегических вооружений? Трудно сказать. Они хотят глобального конфликта. Мне кажется, они хотели договариваться в сфере стратегических вооружений. Но что-то мы не видим большого желания это делать. Разговор на этот счет есть, а большого желания мы как бы не видим. Ну, посмотрим, что будет происходить дальше.
Russia's not even trying to hide its violation of international conventions anymore, especially those concerning warfare. Well, the official propaganda channels might try to maintain some pretense, but the narrative is threadbare. In this latest incident, the Russians have been caught using chemical agents. Now, not their most notorious weapon, Novichok, but chlorpyrifos, which is mostly classified as a chemical irritant. In a recent post, Russian melee blogger Feltov has come out openly admiring Moscow's use of chemical agents in Ukraine. The video in question was shamelessly published on the official Telegram channel of Russia's state propaganda outlet RT. That's Russia for you. Over there, even the lies barely hold together.
Теперь по сути. Здесь вот видно противогаз, который висел у пулеметчика, цинки из-под патронов. Здесь вот газовая граната, которую сбросили мы. Смотрите, при планировании наступательных действий при проведении тщательной разведки условно всегда какой-нибудь укреп можно разбить на какие-то участки и назначить так называемые замки. И вот это был конкретный замок. Вот пулеметчик, который здесь сидел, он контролил вот этот подход. Вот он, вход.
The Russian Ministry of Defense has recently uploaded a video showing a captured Ukrainian soldier from the Bratslav battalion. Without beating around the bush, he told the Russians what went down and how one of his fellow soldiers blew himself up with a grenade to avoid Russian captivity.
Они закидали нас гранатами, мы укрывались в блиндаже. Один из наших товарищей подорвал себя гранатой, чтобы не сдаваться в плен. После этого мы сложили оружие и подняли руки вверх.
Now, we have shown you a lot of videos with Ukrainian soldiers released from Russian captivity and stories of what they went through. And let's be honest here, very few of them were happy, except for those that showed the Ukrainians finally returning home. Today, more than 8,000 Ukrainians remain in Russian captivity, including over 1,600 civilians. And a lot of them have been there since the beginning of the full-scale invasion in February 2022. Now, we wish every Ukrainian citizen a speedy and safe return home. Since we're talking about Bratslav, the name has also been used by a radical political party in Ukraine, led by one Dmytro Korchinski. Let's take a closer look at this rather notorious figure, shall we? Korchinski fought in the war in Transnistria on the side of the separatists, or rather the anti-government pro-Russian FSB troops. He was also involved with anti-Ukrainian events in downtown Kyiv in 2005 alongside Medvedchuk. Remember that one? Yeah, one of Putin's best friends in Ukraine? But there's more. In 2005, Dmytro participated in a press conference in Moscow alongside Alexander Dugin, where they alleged that the Americans were preparing a partition of Ukraine and the military exercises were only a cover for this process. I think we've already heard this before somewhere. Just food for thought, but sometimes it is very helpful to take a look at some people's background, isn't it? Now, to close out today's episode, we'd like to show you some nature. The clip is called In the World of Animals, and of course it's going to be about Russia because Russians are living in their own world, and we really want to understand how their civilization is working because it seemed kind of alien sometimes.
Здравствуйте, мои дорогие любители дикой природы. В эфире передача «В мире же», и сегодня мы с вами узнаем, что же является ценностью для таких обитателей планеты Земля, как путикантропы и путинотеки. На свет появляется маленький путикантроп. Его мама Путинотек сразу же надевает на него пилотку со звездой и торжественно вручает деревянный пистолет. Маленький путикантроп уже выучил фразу «Дядя Вова, мы с тобой». Это своего рода символ жертвоприношения во имя вождя. Правда, маленький путикантроп еще не знает, что жертвой является именно он. Его главной задачей – произвести на свет себе подобного. И сразу же с честью отдать жизнь за вождя. Девиз путикантропов можем повторить. Правда, мало кто из них понимает, что именно они могут повторить. Для путинотеков и путикантропов не важно, в каких условиях проживать и какого качества кушать пищу. Для них главное, чтобы их вождь имел много денег, ел изысканные деликатесы, жил в уюте и безопасности. За это они готовы пойти на все.
If only this was a lie, but that's just the sad truth. It seems like Russians really having kids just to have more people to admire Vladimir Putin. Sometimes I feel really sorry for the children that find themselves in this type of environment. And with that, we conclude this edition of Break the Fake, but for more news, update, and commentary, please stay tuned to TVP World.